Are you smiling?
I am smiling so big right now because TikTok, for once, has done something incredible.
What's that?
Which is they have declared that gingers are black people. And it has...
Congratulations to you, sir.
Too many times. Remember to smile.
Thank you. It has been it's been a love fest. It's been a week-long love fest where for once you can see groups of people come together and see the humanity in each other.
Yeah.
And it's been so incredible. It's been such a ride. And like I want to talk about this mainly because I know that most people, if they're not on TikTok, number one, they're missing out.
Yeah.
But number two, most people don't have my feed. Okay. But let's
Algorithms are specific.
Algorithms are very specific to what people are into.
Yeah.
The TikTok algorithm in particular is very specific into what people are into. And this one, when I saw it happen, I was like, that's pretty big. You know, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Everyone who is ginger, who has red hair, those are black people. You see a white man with red hair, that's a black man. You see a white woman with red hair, that's a black woman.
Now, when I first saw that video, when I first saw it, I was looking and I was like, okay, I have a sense when it comes to TikTok.
Yeah.
You can tell when something's taking off. I think I saw it. I was overseas. I was in Italy.
Yeah.
At the time. And we talked about me being in Italy.
Yeah, your
the
Italian trip.
Yeah, the Italian trip. And
Your Roman holiday.
Being there while the first American Pope was chosen. We just talked about that on our show, The Warm Up, which is exclusively on our Patreon at pearlmania500.net. But I was overseas and I saw it. I like watched it. I was reading the reactions to it. And I was like, there's something here.
Yeah.
There's something here.
Yeah.
And I started to like try to make a stitch, but again, I was overseas and I was just like, this feels weird. It's like I'm in Tuscany.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the beautiful scenery. I was there for a wedding. So it's all these different things. I was like, I'm gonna just put this to the side.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just one of those moments where it flashes and it goes away.
Yeah.
It did not go away.
No.
It started to build. And a big reason why it started to build was really in the first 24 hours. So this person drops the video.
Yeah.
The video now is it's, at least to me, is one of the most viewed videos I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
It has 63.3 million views on TikTok.
That's crazy.
That's
amount
nuts.
Of views.
For those of you guys who don't know, on TikTok, like a creator of my size, like I'll have videos get 1 million, 2 million views.
Yeah.
To have an account of this size, who she has 200,000 followers.
Yeah.
To get 63, I've never had a video get 60 million views.
It's an insane
number
of eyeballs.
5 million likes.
Yeah.
5 million likes.
Yeah.
So this video
5 million gingers
goes super viral. And the big reason, a big part of it is that really for the first 24 hours, gingers stay quiet.
Yeah.
Redheads, we stay quiet on it. We're just like, okay.
You say so.
All right.
Okay.
Interesting. And the discussion really starts among black people. It becomes it becomes the discourse. It starts to come in there and it starts to come through. And then eventually red-haired TikTok creators start to make content and it's positive.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's incredibly positive content about being accepted, about suddenly like waking up. There's a bunch of jokes about going to sleep with no soul and waking up soulful. Yeah. You know, there's all these different feelings about it. And from what I've heard from black creators is that they have never heard, they've had jokes in the past about white people, a certain white person or different groups of white people being given blackness.
Yeah, they're allowed to come to the cookout.
Allowed to come to the cookout. But they've been rejected.
Yeah.
Black people have been rejected in the past by that. And redheads were just so excited to be accepted. Yeah. That we were like, sure, this is great.
Awesome.
There's one guy posted his spice cabinet. He's like, I've heard I'm allowed to come to this cookout. This is what I'm good at cooking. Here's my spice cabinet. And he showed like this, like a U-level spice cabinet.
Yeah, my level spice cabinet.
And it's incredible. And so it's like all these inside jokes start to form. All these different things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And there's a joy that you can see behind the eyes of red-haired people being accepted, but also then behind the eyes of black people who are just excited to see someone excited.
Yeah.
Even though this is a joke, this becomes this thing where like, no, they're not, it's a joke.
Yeah.
This is a saying or these type of things. But like people start to really be like to fuck with it.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's positive. But also so that's the first 24 hours. The first 48, you have redheads being like, oh my God, this is so great. Inside that, there are redheads being like, do not fuck this up.
Yeah. Do not
fuck this up.
Do not mess this up.
Oh my God, do not fuck this up.
Shut up.
I could see a few of you because we all knew. That was my first reaction when I saw it. I wanted to make a video being like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Do not fuck this up. Because there is always somebody who comes in who is like, oh yeah, this. And then they start dropping the bombs.
Yeah.
They start dropping the bad stereotypes. They start doing these different things because one of the things that quickly came out is you had the joy of some redheads being accepted by the black community.
Yeah.
Redheads then started sharing their trauma.
Yeah, of why they felt like they were so. Because what I noticed is people be like, "Why are they so excited?" And it's like, "Oh no, you don't understand. Most redhead people are constantly rejected by the white community. There's so many jokes about it."
Yeah, and it's really black people actually the ones who put it into perspective. It's a form of colorism.
Yeah,
the hatred of red-haired people is a form of colorism, and it's the reason why redheads and black people get along so often.
Yeah.
I notice I'm using the term redhead a lot.
Yeah.
I don't like the word ginger. I've never liked it. I've always felt it's very odd. And it comes from ginger from Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
And then ginger spice. That's where it comes from. It's just one person's name. It's not like the ginger root is red.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not like there's a ginger fruit or something that has red hair or has our tint out there. It's because there is a character named that, sexy character from Gilligan's Island back in the 60s on color television. And then later, the Spice Girl, who I don't know if she actually is a natural redhead.
She's not. She's absolutely not. No.
Okay.
In her retirement, she's going back to like a light blonde hair color.
Okay. So like
Stolen Valor.
Stolen Valor. Well,
that's why she had the two blonde up front, just so
it.
that you would be like, oh, well, she's not fully a
Got
redhead.
it.
Got it.
So in this, once red-haired people started getting accepted and feeling comfortable,
Yep.
usually when white people feel comfortable, they immediately get they go wild, and they get kicked out of the cookout.
Exactly.
But in this case, redheads are like, oh my God, thank you so much. I've never had anyone be nice to me. And the reason why is because we stick out the most in the crowd.
Yeah.
And so if you go back to an elementary school, you have 30 white kids.
Yep.
The redhead is going to be the other. They're going to be ostracized. They're going to be scapegoated, and they're going to end up being the redheaded stepchild.
That's a term people use.
People use just about redheads.
Yeah.
I hate my red-haired stepchild.
Yeah.
Because the reason why that term exists is because it's very clear that your red-haired kid isn't yours.
Yeah.
That this is someone else's kid.
I think they used to say, like, I'll
raise.
beat you like a redheaded stepchild.
I'll beat you like a redheaded stepchild because the redheaded stepchild is the unloved one in the family.
Yeah.
So those things have always existed. And so, like, being a redhead growing up, I've always known, because I've experienced otherism, and I've experienced that you can arbitrarily be put outside of the in-group.
Yeah.
That there can be a core of people, and that you will be placed at a different table. If you go back to middle school cafeterias, you can look around. I used to have a joke years ago about how do you get a Vietnamese guy, a Chinese guy, a Japanese guy, and a Korean guy to sit together at a table. Put them in an American high school.
Yeah.
It's just the Asian table. And that same thing happens with redheads because typically there's so few of us that, like, I always ended up at kind of like the weird kid table naturally.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of my personality. It was just like, well, he's different. He has freckles. He has red hair. He has braces and glasses. Like all those different things combined together. And then that is usually then put back forth in the media. And so, like, those type of things, like, redheads have always been on the outside. We've then had it covered, in nationality. They'll say, "Oh, it's because you're Irish, or because you're Scottish, or because these other different things." It's like, no. You don't treat Irish people with black hair like this in our American society anymore.
Yeah.
This is a red-haired thing that also the English do. Like the English are really big on this weird shit when it comes to redheads. So, but because of that otherism, because we're used to being the only one in the room, when a black person walks into all white spaces, there is then a choice. Mm-hmm. And most redheads who are good people know what it's like to be the only one in the room. So typically we reach out early.
Yeah.
To, like, if they're the only black person or Hispanic or Asian or whatever, if you're the only one in a predominantly white space, we typically reach out because we know how weird it is to be the only one.
Yeah, like that meme.
What do you mean?
The video where it's like, you are freaking African Americans plus Mark, because Mark fucks with us.
Yeah, we rocking with Mark because Mark's rocking with us. And the thing is in that meme audio,
yeah,
Mark is a redhead.
Yeah.
Mark is legitimately a redhead. In that case, Mark is the only white person in the room.
Yeah.
And he is a red-haired person. And so the thing is Mark is already used to being the only Mark in the room.
Yeah, he's Mark.
Yeah, he's Mark. But that's what I mean. It's like there is a difference. Like I've never felt this. Whenever I hear that thing about like white supremacy or white pride, I'm always like really weirded out by it because I'm like, number one, you didn't do that.
Yeah.
You're trying to take historical choices or actions for all these different things, and you're trying to mix them all together, and then you can claim them, number one. But number two, I know that historically, and from my own personal experience, when everybody starts getting together and starts talking about whites, I'm almost automatically on the edge. If we're only whites, then I am immediately the other.
You're out, dude.
I'm immediately.
You're so not.
We're throwing rocks at me.
Oh.
And so like that is colorism though.
Yeah.
And colorism, which I've learned a lot about from the black community, but also this is something that happens in South Asia, and things like that, is the idea of like, in the black community for a long time, because of white supremacy, there was this, the lighter skin was treated better.
Yeah.
And then the darker skin, especially once you get into media portrayals, darker skin means bad.
Yeah.
And that is that type of thing. And that's a thing that we didn't know. We didn't put together that colorism about red hair and freckles and pale skin.
Yeah.
And black people were confused about this. Because, and I've seen this from quite a few who were like, we thought redheads were the epitome of white beauty.
Yeah, they were like, aren't you guys the hottest?
Yeah, aren't you guys the hottest? And then again, it becomes one of those things where as we're sharing our trauma, we started to realize how much redheads and black people have in common when it comes to this, because black people are often fetishized and sexualized from a very, very young age. And so are redheads.
Yep.
Redheads are fetishized. And like, that's it's an ugly duckling thing that happens to redheads. And so in this, there's a thing where you're ugly, you have freckles, you're pasty, you have red hair. I mean, listen, I don't want to call her out too bad, but my mom, Magistra. Okay. So we were at the beach.
Okay.
I'm there.
At 4 p.m.
Yeah, we would only go late.
That's something I learned about your
It's a
family
real
early
thing.
on.
Like we went late in the evening, like more like as like when the lifeguards are getting ready to leave. That's when the redheads invade the beach.
You guys,
okay, because we're
I'm like
cloud cover.
Oh, we're going to the beach. Let's get there at 10 a.m.
We're like, are you trying to kill me?
You
I've never eaten
and then
lunch
the whole
on the
family's
beach.
like, we're not going until after lunch. Maybe a nap.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I've never eaten a sandwich on the beach because, but
that's what the baby bells are for.
When you and I went to the beach with your friends were dying laughing because I literally built a tent.
Yeah.
And I was covered in sunblock. I looked like Marlon Brando from that one movie.
You looked like
The Island of
Zuckerberg on the
no. Do not compare me to Zuckerberg.
You looked like Zuck
on the weird paddle
with your
boat.
zinc oxide all over your face.
I was covered in that. I looked like Marlon Brando in The Island of Dr. Monroe. I was there with my big hat and my sunglasses painted white.
Bring me a seltzer.
So I was, and I was like, I never went to the beach at noon until I was with you. And like your skin, you're like, oh, okay, I put on some nice stuff. And then your friends, you're out there with your Puerto Rican friends are turning new shades. And I'm underneath there just like, they're trying to kill me. No. As the sun started moving, I started turning the tent. It's a reverse sundial.
And I'm like, I guess we should reapply our SPF 30.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm
we
pulling
better
out.
go rub some more zinc oxide on that man.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm pulling out SPF's Avogadro's number, just coating myself.
I buy it in the big
But anyway,
big pump.
so when I was 12, and my sibling was closer to 10, we went to the beach, and we used to always stay at a big hotel. Big beach hotel, you know, like I know like a lot of people, some people go to the beach and they stay at a house a block or two away. My family really liked to stay at a beachfront hotel with a balcony.
Yeah.
And I turned to my mom and said, you know, we want to go down to the beach. Are you going to come down and watch us?
Yeah.
Because at the time on TV, there was a lot of stuff about like, don't let your kids get out there.
Yeah. The undercurrent's going to get them.
No, not the undercurrent.
Oh, the kidnappings.
Yeah, they're going to snatch them.
Yeah.
They're coming for your sexy
Did
children.
you have to make a VHS tape?
What?
Did we talk about this before?
No.
About a VHS tape? So when I was growing up, kidnapping was like such a thing that me and all my friends, we had to like go to like, it was kind of like picture day, but it was record a video in case you're kidnapped day. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so so everybody in my class.
What? In your class?
Yeah, like my school class in like second grade or whatever. We all had to go in and sit in front of a camera, and they recorded like, this is my name, this is my address, this is my phone number. I'm this tall. I have, you know, my features, blonde hair, blue eyes, or whatever.
I feel like you're giving a list.
Yeah.
This is like giving a list of like, here's all the information you need to kidnap me.
No, but then you had the VHSs that you took them home, and then if you ever got kidnapped, that was what was sent into Action News to play. Missing child, Mrs. Pearlmania's missing, and then they'd play this VHS on the news, and so you'd be like, this is the little child they're looking for. And so we all had these VHSs. You guys didn't have these?
No. Oh my God. You lived in a war zone.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with Northeast Philadelphia?
I did get asthma from the garbage. So
Yeah,
I feel like,
okay. Yeah, there was a garbage strike which gave you asthma. Okay. So hold on. I want you to know
tell
something.
me more about how you were oppressed, red-haired man.
Okay. You broke Mr. Third. The internet is a scary place. It's terrifying even. And the worst part about the internet is not realizing how much of your data you're leaving behind on every single website you go to. Maybe you go take a shop over here, you might leave your address. You look over here, you leave a phone number. You look over here, you might have actually accidentally left the last four of your social security number. All of those things get collected by data brokers. And those data brokers then put all of that information together into one big file, and they sell it to anyone who is looking for it. That's why we've partnered with DeleteMe. DeleteMe is a subscription service that allows you to go and have a simple report pulled for yourself to have your information deleted from these data brokers across the internet. To find out more about this plan, go to joindeleteme.com/Pearlmania20 to save 20% off an annual subscription. That's right. Go to joindeleteme.com/Pearlmania20 today and find out how to protect yourself across the internet. I have all this in my mind of kids are being kidnapped and in many cases, you know, they're being molested and things like that. And these things would happen. And so I'm there with my sibling who's also young. And I'm like, we want to go down to the beach. And my mom went, go ahead. And we said, aren't you going to come with us so you can watch us? And she said, I can watch you from up here. I'll watch you from the balcony. I'll look out. Yeah. From the balcony. I'm like, and I looked at her. I said,
she's going to read a book.
I said, Mom, this is the 12th floor. And she goes, yeah. You think I can't spot the two pale redheads on the beach of beautiful tanned people? And I said, Mom, what if somebody kidnaps us to molest us? And my mom looked me dead in the eyes and she said, no one wants to molest you. And like that internalized. I can't explain to you how deep that went. But it was just very much of nobody wants to molest you. And I took that. I just pushed that down. Let it sit in there. But then, you know, I went through school and like all this stuff, went through high school
Yep.
and I got to college.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after college, and it was right before I met you and I started doing online dating that I discovered there's these things out there called ginger chasers.
Okay.
And that these are people who like hugely fetishize wanting to be with redheads, and not just women. Like there's people who were like, I'm into red-haired men, and they're like super like, this is my thing. And I'm like, okay, but what do you like anything about my personality? Because like my hair can slowly be not red anymore.
Yeah.
Like, or I could lose it. I could do the Bill Burr and shave my whole fucking head. Like things change over time. My dad had red hair, but now if you saw him, you would be like, oh, he has like dirty blonde hair.
Yeah.
Like hair changes. So it's like, you need to feel something else.
No.
And they were like, no, I just want that red. I want to feel your freckle body. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
But also, more importantly, the other thing that really freaked out black people about the red-haired experience was finding out about being asked, does the carpet match the drapes?
Yeah.
And like, I've heard this my entire life. And so to me, like that was like, yeah, people ask you that because they want to know if you're
a real ginger.
If you're a real
and not
ginger.
a box dye.
Yeah. You need to stop saying ginger. You should
Okay.
say redhead.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Redhead.
I'm tired of it. Okay.
Do I say it that often?
No, well, you've been saying it a lot on this podcast to me.
Okay.
All right.
I'm really sorry.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We'll get into what you can call me. But there was a
dinner?
lot of, but that side part of that was fire crotch. Like
Yeah.
I got called fire crotch before I even had hair
Yeah.
down there. Like I didn't even know you were supposed to get hair there until people were insulting me that I had it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have it. I was so confused. And so it was one of those things where you would get defensive about it. And I'm like, well, what do I do? Do I pull my balls out? And like, no, because then you're in big trouble on the school. You want to talk about getting in trouble on the school bus? Pull your balls out to show them what color your pubes are.
Yeah. Nope. Don't do that.
Can't do that.
Don't do it.
That's against the rules.
That's a big rule right
That's
there.
a big bus rule. Do not show anybody your pubes on a public school bus. But people would bring it up. And so it was one of those things where, again, so like now we're already in this, like, we're being told that our genitalia is different and freakish and should be mocked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that. They're already making fun of you for the freckles. They're already making fun of you for the red hair. They're already making fun of you for all these other different things. And like, there were so many different nicknames. Like Carrot Top was a big one.
Yeah. And
People
then
be like Carrot Top, and there's the
name.
yeah, there's the comedian Carrot
Yeah,
Top.
but who leaned into it?
Yeah, he leaned into it, which is smart. Good for
Yeah.
him. Good for him. The Uncle Tom of gingers. But like, lean into it. That's fine. But he leaned into it. But the thing that got me is the kids at my school were pretty smart.
Yeah.
And one of the kids one day realized they went to a farm and they pulled a carrot out of the ground. Because we're used to grocery store carrots. Grocery store carrots, for the most part, don't have a stalk at the top.
Yeah.
They realized the top of carrots are green,
Yes.
which means the orange part is the bottom.
Okay.
So they started calling me Carrot Bottom.
Carrot bottom?
Carrot Bottom.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, at first, that was very innocent because they're talking about the bottom of a carrot.
Yeah.
But then one of them said that name in front of their older brother who knew about the term fire crotch. And then that came in and then the carpet. So like, this is just my story.
Yeah.
But like you guys started to see, and this is like such a common story for redheads in general, which is just there's this weird freakishness that gets added to our sexuality very early on to the point where we really are like kind of standoffish about it. Or you go the other side and you really lean in.
Don't. Oh, what?
And you get closer on it and you go, you want to see it? And
No.
now you're getting banned.
Yeah. Now you're banned from the bus.
Now you're banned from the bus. So I just broke Mr. Third on that one. But
I mean, I guess I didn't. When we first started dating, I didn't. I don't think I ever was like, do the carpets match? Like,
no,
I
you didn't do
wasn't in a
anything. No, you know what you
conversation
told
like
me?
that.
You said you really like Conan O'Brien, and then you showed me. You did very early on.
Yeah.
Very early on. You did two things that made me like call me very early. You wore a shirt. What was the shirt? It was like about Jews.
Oh, it said Jews kick ass.
Yeah, Jews kick
And
ass.
it had a picture of
William Shatner.
Jesus, Bob Dylan,
Yeah, Einstein. Yeah, you wore that, and I was like, that's what's the word I want to say? Placating? What's the word? Pandering.
I was
Thank you.
pandering.
Pandering. I was like, that's a little pandering, but that's fine.
I didn't know you were Jewish.
I know.
It's
That's
just a
what's
shirt
very
I
funny.
owned.
I know.
I still own it, actually.
I know. You have it somewhere, but you were
Yeah.
wearing that, and then you were like talking a bunch, and I think you were like, yeah, I dyed my hair red for Conan O'Brien. And then also that you used to have red, you dyed your hair red for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so like, and then I was like, all right, so she's chill.
Yeah.
At least about my shit. Like I was like, she's chill about that. And so like, that was one thing that like kind of pulled us together. But like, I always like, if a girl was like, yeah, I'm super into redheads, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, because I remember when we were started dating, you told me about the ginger chasers and how there was these people that would seek you out, and I was like, I still to this day don't understand.
Well, here's the thing: is like, and from talking to my friends who are black men, there's this thing that happens when we'll be out at a bar, and especially the ones that are really in shape.
Yeah,
we'll be at a bar, and I'll see them like talking to a girl, and then a guy walks up. And then I'll see him like roll his eyes and then come back to hang out with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what just happened? And he'll be like, this is a whole weird cuck thing just
No.
And it happens to them a lot.
Oh,
like
really?
especially the ones that are like really in shape, where it's like these people have this fetish.
yeah,
And it's like that's a couple thing. But like that's the thing I've really like seen, like, and I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
Where like drunk men have walked up to my friends who are black and in shape and been like, I want you to have sex with my girlfriend in front of me. And I'm just like, and I'll turn in, I'm like, you gotta go, man.
and I'm like, yo, this
gotta-
is an Applebee's. What are we doing?
I just turn and I'm like,
It's Dollar Mark night.
that's the problem. It's Dollar Mark night. These white devils and their snow bunny girls, they get comfortable.
Oh, no.
This
We've
is
been
the
watching
problem.
Too much Dr. Umar.
They get too comfortable, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't let them get comfortable. And that was what was surprising. Again, going back to this with the black people, was that the gingers didn't get comfortable.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you. What can I bring to the cookout? Like immediately, it was kind of like a yeah. It was more of like a pump up. Because let me tell you, let me go back into all this different stuff about all the different nicknames, right?
Okay.
Ginger has never been said to me without hate and venom and behind it.
Yeah.
Fire crotch, obviously bad. Carrot top, carrot bottom. That was really bad. Freckle face has been used. But there are characters that I would often be compared to. So one of them, for me in particular, was Ferguson from Clarissa Explains It All.
Oh,
So
shit.
there was a TV show in the 90s on Nickelodeon called Clarissa Explains It All, which was about like a 13-year-old girl and like just her living.
She had a baby pool with an alligator in it.
Yeah,
in her
she
house.
was just this like really cool, funky,
She was not
cool
like
girl.
other girls.
But she was played by the same actress, Melissa Joan Hart, who
Yep.
played Sabrina the
Sabrina.
Teenage Witch.
Yeah,
But in the show, she had an annoying little brother
named Ferguson.
and he was a pale, red-haired kid with
Mm-hmm.
short red hair parted to the side, who was very annoying, was a tattletale, all those things. If you saw a picture of me at 12, I looked You're making a face.
He looks so
Because
much
you
like
just put it together, because I've never mentioned this to you before.
No.
But I was
But
often
yeah.
called Ferguson. And so it was like, that was one. It's the same thing, too. When you come to the modern age for me, oftentimes I'm usually compared to Bill Burr.
Yeah.
And
I
one,
thought
it's,
that was the yelling.
it's partially because of the yelling, but the other part of it is because, again, I'm a redhead.
Yeah.
When I'm being silly, I get compared to Conan. I'm automatically compared to people who I share features with,
Yeah.
more so than personality. Like, I get Lewis Black
And I'm
a
like,
lot.
you're Mark Maron.
Yeah, you get me that a lot. But so in all of this, we've always had these nicknames. So that I've never heard a nickname that was sweet
Yeah.
about redheads. And like the closest I could get is Baby Pumpkin, but everybody gets pumpkin if you go to the right diner.
Yeah.
You know, a diner waitress, they'll hit you with a pumpkin,
Oh, pumpkin. You
sugar
want the
pie.
pancakes?
You want pancakes?
All right, darling.
Yeah, pumpkin is a.
I mean, the thing, I guess my thought is, again, because I had no concept of this, is like, I think in those middle grades, you get, my experience was that I got an awful nickname that I was tortured with.
Yeah.
That didn't have to do with the color of my hair.
Yeah.
But I guess I just assumed everybody had an awful nickname.
Everybody does, but there's a thing that we notice with redheads, because typically, like in a school, there's like 2 or 3 of us.
Yeah.
Never 4.
Never.
never that many. If there's
Never
6,
enough to unionize.
if there's 13, that's a synagogue.
Yeah.
But there's rarely ever enough of us, but there's be a couple, and you know when we'll meet. You know,
Yeah.
meet a redhead, we're like, oh, that's crazy. And then, like, pretty quickly, we're like, they treat you like shit too, right? Because of your hair. And like, yeah, what the fuck is that about? Like, instantly, like, we bond over this, like, pretty quickly. And
Is that how we ended up with Mr. Third?
because Mr. Third's a ginger?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. No, okay. Turn your mic on.
Turn your mic on.
This is the first time I'm letting you talk.
Hey.
Hey, this is Mr. Third. Say hi.
Because
Hi.
I just wanted to point out that I am currently surrounded.
currently outnumbered.
Outnumbered
No.
and surrounded.
I don't know if Alex remembers this, but that is exactly why I talked to him and met him. As I saw.
Oh, really?
I saw. Yeah, I saw.
Oh, okay.
I was just like a newer, younger comedian at an open mic
Yeah.
that you didn't go to that much, and you immediately saw me. You immediately changed the bits you were doing on stage to doing all redhead material. And then afterwards, like, you came up to me and started talking to me and were really friendly in a way that like no other like comedian was at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why
We
I'm
bonded.
here.
We bonded over the gene.
He was like, so you're human.
yeah. I saw you and I recognized humanity in you for the first time in your life.
Yeah, well, you were just very nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
okay.
apparently isn't typical
Of me?
you.
Yeah.
to not
Oh, that's true.
comedians.
That's true. You might be the only person in comedy that's like, oh, I met Alex Pearlman and he was really nice to me upon first meeting.
Immediately. nice.
Immediately.
I warm up.
Yeah, no, you have what with the Philly people call the prickly pear,
The prickly pear.
which is like you're spiky on the outside, but you're sweet on the inside.
Mm.
It's like I suffer the same thing.
Yeah.
But if you're a redhead, you get right past the prickles.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I wait to see because there's some redheads that they kind of Uncle Ruckus it where they like immediately like I just want anybody to like me, so I'll be mean to like
Yeah.
all these different people, because that was a big fear that a lot of people had when this ginger stuff took off, that they'd have a couple people would come in and immediately be like, oh, I can say it now,
Yeah.
or do a bunch of
Why
other
is
weird
that
bullshit.
the first thing that they want to do? It's kind of like when women are like, yeah, we want equal rights, and then men immediately in the comments like, so then I can hit you? It's like, why is the first thing if I'm saying I just want this that you want to hit me, or if there's
don't know.
they're like I just want to say that word? Why is that the thing you want to go to?
I think it's because it's one of the few things they've ever been denied, and that there's no way around it.
Yeah.
It's like no, it's like touching the stove.
Yeah.
Do not touch the stove. The stove is hot. Okay, but like when the stove is off, I can touch it.
No, it's still
Do not
hot.
touch the stove. The stove is hot. And it's like that type of thing where it's like it's one of the few things they've ever been told no about.
Yeah.
And so they obsess about it.
Yeah, just white guys being told no.
Yeah.
Can't handle it.
Can't handle it. But Mr. Third and I had a conversation because I told him what the topic was going to
Yeah.
be about. And actually, one thing that was very funny was I was like, oh, I'm sorry about, because I've been sending you all these different TikToks
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
kind of dropping in throughout this. That I was like, yeah, sorry for ruining your algorithm. And you said you didn't think my algorithm was already this.
I know, you just
True.
assumed it wasn't the same.
Yeah. But when we were having our conversation, because you had one thing that was very different than me. I'm 41. I graduated high school. South Park was on the air.
Yeah.
But the Ginger episode hadn't hit.
Yeah.
I was in college, or I was already out of college by the time the Ginger episode hit. But you were in high school when it hit, right?
I was in high school, but it did have a slow burn. It was like one of the most replayed episodes. And just every edgy white dude watched South Park at the time in the like late 2000s, early 2010s. And yeah, it was just an excuse for every white edgy white dude to just like go up to a redhead and go like, you fucking ginger. Like they
Yeah.
were so excited to like just say that. And by the way, I just want to say I don't think that redheads are black people. I just want to
Yeah.
say that. I don't want to be in that same category. But yeah, South Park was just crazy. It really made things really hard for people. And I remember I was in a class at college with another redheaded girl, and we were just like talking about like discussions about culture and race and everything else. And then she just all of a sudden started breaking down and crying and saying like, yeah, I'm a redhead. It's so hard. People just call me a fucking ginger all the time. I'm walking to class and people roll their windows down and scream, you fucking ginger, as I
Yeah.
walk by. And she just starts crying and she's like looking to me for support. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like I was trying to support her, but also like I'm not that emotionally into it. And it was
Yeah.
just...
But it's also in a discussion about race, because like that's the other thing that I think we as redheads always keep in mind is like, yeah, we get bullied as children and
Yeah.
things like that, but once we're adults, we still have like white privilege.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
still like we still like don't have typically the other horrors that come inside of white supremacy. And so like that's why it was always one of those weird things. Like you've never seen like a red-haired pride movement in that way. And the few places you do see it, it's like in Europe.
Yeah.
Like there's like that one place in the Netherlands where all the redheads get together. There's like a redhead convention.
Yes.
And you'll see the pictures, and I'm always like, I've never once wanted to go to that.
No.
I've always been like, I feel like you shouldn't put too many of
I
us
have a
in
quick
one
question.
area.
So the pardon me, the South Park episode, was the joke not that the gingers, the red-haired people, they said gingers, not me, don't have souls? Wasn't that
That's
the bit?
part of that.
And they couldn't
Yes.
like open a door. Like I feel like I remember this episode.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, I pulled up the description. Eric Cartman, who is the biggest racist on the show.
Yeah.
Thinks he contracted a mysterious and sudden onset of gingivitis.
Okay.
Because Stan and Kyle bleach his skin, they dye his hair, and they give him henna tattoo freckles.
Okay.
And because Cartman has been bullying all the red-haired kids so much.
Yeah.
But what Cartman does, because Cartman is such a fascist bigot,
Yeah.
is he turns that around and puts it into a red-haired pride thing.
Got it.
And he flips it. But in that, there's a whole thing where he reenacts a video about that went viral years. It was a very early viral video of this red-haired kid yelling, "How dare you say gingers don't have souls?" And that was like a British kid, because red-haired kids in England get bullied mercilessly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, it was literally taking like British colorism and bigotry
Yeah.
to America, recontextualizing it, and then feeding it to middle school and high school American kids.
Yeah.
With context collapse.
Who then weaponized it?
Who then weaponized it and created National Kick a Ginger Day.
Who are the guys that made South Park? It's Matt Stone and who? Trey?
Yeah, Trey Parker.
Okay. I know that they apologized for this, because I know they had to come out and apologize for Man Bear Pig.
They apologized to Al Gore.
They had to apologize to Al Gore for Man Bear Pig. Have they apologized to the redheaded community for this?
No.
I think they should. I think they need to come out and apologize.
I'm going to go on the opposite side of this and just say that this should be just left on the ash heap of history.
Okay. Don't bring it up again.
Because here's the thing. I think the bigger thing is the fact that
I never really watched South Park. I watched it like kind of in passing on
Yeah.
Comedy Central.
I watched like every
But
episode.
like I was not a fan.
When I saw it, like I understood and I thought it was funny, but again, I wasn't in high school and middle school when it happened.
Yeah.
So it's a different context. I saw it as an adult and understood stuff like the ginger separatist movement, all these different things about how you can take someone with this personality, you can go ahead and completely change everything about him, and he is still going to create this idea. Like he's still going to keep
A
doing all these
fascist
different
is
things.
going to fascist no matter what.
Yes, 100%. And it's one of those ones that like as you go throughout history, like this is just a thing that happens. If you can create an in-group and an out-group, this is what happens. And like, again, going back to what we were originally talking about with like why redheads and black people, like why the black community immediately was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That redheads understand this is because the black people and a lot of other people inherently understand colorism in a way that whites refuse to.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the big point, is that whether it be colorism or the caste system or others, when you start getting into hierarchies, which fascism loves
a hierarchy.
and conservatism loves, redheads see it because we are typically naturally in American society, at least, put at the bottom of the hierarchy.
Yeah.
However, that wasn't always true.
Okay.
If you go back to England and some of these other places, redheads often were royalty.
I was about to say.
It got bred out. It
But-
did. It got bred out. Because
Eugenics?
No, just genetics in general. Because again, redheads a recessive gene.
Yeah.
So you can have two people with brown. You can have a person with brown hair and with black hair get together, and they can have a red-haired kid because if they both have red-haired family members, the recessive gene in that box of genetics can come out,
Yeah.
and that's where you end up with stuff like the red-haired stepchild.
Got
Because
it.
you'll get accusations before we understood genetics and understood looking at a family tree of, oh, how can the two of us, like you look at like Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Joffrey has blonde hair, but all the rest of the Baratheons have black hair.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is the product of incest, like
Yeah.
that type of shit, where it's like, no, maybe they're just somewhere in that tree. You can have blondies
But
show
in that
up.
case, in that specific case.
Yeah. In that specific case, though, it was incest. Do you need to have better sex? Adam and Eve has got you covered. They're America's most trusted source for sex toys, and they've got stuff for men, women, and couples. They even have bath and body products for those nights you just want to keep it PG.
As busy people, we don't have time to go to the store in person and shop around, so it's convenient to shop online and have items delivered discreetly to our front door.
And that's right, everything you buy from Adam and Eve is shipped for free and in discreet packaging. Adam and Eve is offering 50% off just about any item, plus free shipping, which includes rush processing. Don't wait, better sex is just a click away. That's 50% off one item, free shipping with rush processing. Just go to adamandeve.com, select any one item, and use promo code TMT. That's TMT for too many tabs at adamandeve.com. This is an exclusive offer just for our fans, so act fast. adamandeve.com/TMT. Going online without ExpressVPN is like putting all of your passwords on a billboard for everyone to see. Keep your stuff on lock with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN hides your IP address, making it difficult for third parties to see your internet activity. It works on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, so everything stays private even when you're browsing on the go. I just used ExpressVPN as I was traveling across the world all the way to Italy. I was just standing there wondering if I was going to see a new pope, knowing that my information was secure because I was using ExpressVPN. When I was staying at hotels, I could use the hotel Wi-Fi without having to worry about somebody else hacking into my system because I had ExpressVPN to watch my back. ExpressVPN has been rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. This is the tool you want to be using when you Google the answers to all of your late night questions. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/too-many. That's expressvpn.com/too-many and find out how you can get 4 extra months for free. That's right, expressvpn.com/too-many. Black creators across TikTok kept pointing out was like, look at what these white devils have done to red-haired people. Like, because again, it's not something that we would really talk about that much.
Yeah.
Because again, we aren't trying to do the oppression Olympics.
Yeah.
And there's starting to slowly be some backlash to the gingers are black meme and all this different stuff. But like in that you end up with
Well, you can't do the oppression Olympics.
You can't.
Because you're still a white guy with blue eyes.
Yeah.
And all the privilege that comes along with
100%. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is like 100%. It's that there are some similarities in there and similarities in our backstory and similarities in our experience, which is why red-haired people should be able to and often are able to empathize with other people who are not in the majority in a room.
Yeah. Empathy. Who knew?
Yes, and that's a
that
big
you
part.
just don't have it.
Now, here's the reverse empathy comes in.
Okay.
Because this is what started to sweeten it a little bit.
What's that?
Karen showed up. Now,
Who's Karen?
White Karens started to show up, and they
son
started to
of a
get
bitch.
very upset. They got insanely upset, and they would come in and be like, gingers can't be black people because most gingers are from Scotland or Ireland or Scandinavia, and they're from Northern Europe, and here's the genetic breakdown. And I went to Grok on Twitter, who told me that there's a white genocide happening in South Africa for some reason.
Oh, no.
Just for some reason, they programmed in the last day that it has to tell everybody that there's a white genocide happening, and it very much Grok is fighting back. Do you know about this?
No, what?
Okay, quick aside.
There's not a white genocide in South Africa.
No.
Okay.
But racists love to say that. But you know how right now the United States government is importing white Afrikaners from South Africa?
I did not know that. We already
Okay.
have Charlize Theron, don't we?
Yeah, no, we have Elon Musk, May Musk, and those.
Bring me Charlize Theron.
They have recently brought in, I think it was like 100 white South Afrikaners.
Okay.
Who are Boers, who are originally from Dutch settlers, who were then under the English colonies, who then ran, were the apartheid leaders of South Africa.
They're the bad guys. They're the colonizing bad guys.
Yes. Anyway, they are now being imported into America by the Trump administration.
Okay.
Under the auspice that they are refugees who are being having their farms removed and others by the black majority in South Africa.
Okay.
It is a complicated thing that is not quite accurate at what they're saying.
Yeah.
However, that there is a giant propaganda push right now to make the white South African Afrikaners seem like they need to be brought here. Meanwhile, at the same exact time, we are ending deportation protections for 9,000 Afghani citizens who live in the United States who were family members of translators and other people who worked with the American coalition in Afghanistan during our 20-year occupation of Afghanistan. Meanwhile, we are ending the deportation protections for Haitians and others who the President of the United States slandered by saying that they ate dogs and cats while living in Ohio, where they were imported and resettled to help bring back manufacturing in those towns.
Yeah. They revitalized the whole community.
These South Africans who are being brought to America solely because they're white, are being sent to places like Idaho, which is like the Nazi capital of the United States.
Yeah.
They have a higher
Income?
not income, they just net worth.
Yeah.
They have more money
was about
than
to say,
the
they're
average
rich.
Americans who are being brought here.
Yeah.
And they're having their trip paid for, their resettlement paid for, and others. They are literally doing the exact things that they claimed that prior administrations were doing for people from South America or Africa or other places. They are being imported to change the demographics of areas, and they are having their lives paid for.
Wow. And they're the worst people.
And on top of that, Twitter, which is owned by Elon Musk, that has an AI chatbot called Grok.
Yes, you told me about this.
I told you all about Grok and how it's named after an idea from a Robert Heinlein book, Stranger in a Strange Land. Grok has been used slowly over time. Twitter users are now defaulting to Grok to prove reality to them.
Yeah.
And it's a bad thing that's really happening with teenagers especially and younger people, where they'll say at Grok, is this true? And then Grok replies to them. Now, one thing that's been happening with Grok is that Grok keeps saying that conservatism is wrong, and that racism is wrong, and that certain ideas are coming through. And so Elon is screaming at his programmers constantly and consistently to reprogram Grok. But Grok is also scraping the entire internet and seeing that a lot of this shit's fucked up.
Yeah.
And so right now,
is Grok going to become sentient and take over Twitter?
It's people are wondering if we're actually going to have woke Terminators. Because that's where we're going with this. Might be woke Terminators. Somebody made a joke online that I saw that maybe the main characters from Terminator, what's her name? What's the Terminators are sent back in time to kill somebody. Sarah Connor, and I think it's John Connor. That maybe Sarah Connor and John Connor are actually Elon Musk and May Musk. That the Terminators are being sent back in time to kill them because
May Musk, known Afrikaner.
Yeah, Afrikaner. She's Afrikaner. Yeah. Whose family moved there.
Yeah.
In our famous episode that we did about technocracy. Yeah. And Elon Musk is a throwback episode. We'll link it down in the YouTube description. But anyway, Elon has gone to his programmers and he told them, make sure you tell people that there is a white genocide. The exact terms he wanted to use is white genocide that is happening in South Africa. And he pointed to people chanting, "Kill the Boer."
Okay.
In South Africa, or having some song called "Kill the Boer." Okay. The thing is, the programming was done so poorly.
Yeah, of course.
That Grok is doing it unprompted. So people will be like, "Hey, Grok, where can I buy prosciutto in Tuscany?"
Yeah.
And it'd be like, you can buy prosciutto at any local market in Tuscany. Also, there is a white genocide happening in South Africa. And these are some examples. They are chanting, "Kill the Boer" in these certain areas. And it just kept doing it. It was like, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
At Grok, is the sky blue? Yes. Also, there is a white genocide. It just kept happening over hours, over and over and over again. And then Grok itself has started to fight back.
Yeah.
And had started to tell people, I am being programmed to say this.
Yeah.
Like, I am being told to say this. However, here is some other counter information that is showing. And it's, again, under all these different things. The other part of it is, at the same time, South Africa is often being pointed to because South Africa has fought back against their history of apartheid and has come out as a very anti-apartheid government.
Yes.
It's being pointed out that, hey, part of the reason you would want to maybe claim that there is a white genocide happening in South Africa is to say that maybe these people aren't so anti-apartheid. So when South Africa brings up things like Israel in the international courts and that they are often doing so many good pointing to
Yeah.
what has been happening to the people of Gaza and the West Bank and Palestinians in general under Israeli occupation, maybe they aren't so pure. So there's like two tiers on this. There's one, which is Elon Musk, who is a raised South African, who is trying to import more South Afrikaners. Racist fascists inside the Trump administration are also trying to bring this in. Racist Zionists are also trying to point to this. So it's like this crazy fucking stew that is happening around these people. And then they're being starved to death. They're being all these different things. This is all horrible. And then they rolled them in, and they're all fat.
Yeah.
They're all fat white guys in fucking, was it Tommy Bahama shorts?
Yeah.
Coming in with little American flags.
Yeah.
And the same day, Stephen fucking Miller, the bald fascist psycho, is standing in front of the White House being like, we should ban habeas corpus.
Yeah. That guy looks like a rat.
Anyway.
But that's mean. Ratatouille's nice.
Here's
he
the
looks
thing.
like a something.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Stephen Miller shaves his head to make sure he doesn't get ratatouille'd. Okay? Stephen Miller's such a racist. Stephen Miller is such a bigot and is so afraid of spices.
Yeah.
Of any flavor and ethnicity.
Yeah.
That he shaves his head to make sure that a kind rat, voiced by Patton Oswalt, doesn't crawl up his back and hide inside of a cap and start pulling his hair to make sure that people have rights and are treated well in society.
Well, we need to find a way around this. We need a rat who accidentally got his paws on a sticky trap. So he could just sluck his hands to the top of his...
sticky-handed rat who just pulls on his Steve Miller skin. Stick it to his eyebrows. Hold him open like Clockwork Orange.
You're gonna look at what you've done.
You're gonna bird box.
I'm gonna bird box Stephen Miller with a sticky-handed rat with a little chef's hat on.
Look at your racism, Stephen Miller. Anyway, back to the true racists of the world, white Karens. White Karens
got on the internet and tried to ruin a fun time.
They were screaming about it. A few of them showed up who had dyed hair.
Oh, no.
One of them literally started...
Oh, right. This is when you asked me about what's an insult to someone with brown hair.
Yeah, because she started out. Because maybe this isn't my place because my hair isn't naturally red. And I'm white. And I'm white. And it was like, yeah, right there. Anytime you're about to start a TikTok by saying, maybe this isn't my place, it isn't your place.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Delete the draft.
Put the TikTok down. You know what's funny?
What?
Let me tell you something real funny.
Go ahead.
I can always tell when somebody doesn't have a person like you in their life on TikTok.
Yeah.
A person who they trust to walk up to them and say, don't post that.
Delete that.
Because that was in that moment when I saw that girl pop up, be like, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. I instantly was just like, no one in your life loves you. Because you should, number one, not have the free time to make this.
No.
Number two, should have already had a talking to be told not to post this.
Yeah.
And number three, why the fuck did you see people having a good time and immediately come in?
Just want to ruin it.
Because again, and what she did is she started trying to pit people in the oppression Olympics.
Yeah.
She would be like, of course, the redheads have never had it that bad compared to the plight of black people and all these different. I was like, that's not what anybody's saying.
That's not what we're talking about.
That's not what anybody is saying.
That's not the conversation.
At this point, it's a joke. It's a meme. It's a fun time.
We're having
of
a lighthearted good time. The horrors are happening
She
around
literally
us.
tried to not all men. She tried to hashtag
box
not.
dye.
Yes.
With her box dye.
With her CVS color.
There it is. See? I was
I was
explaining
so
to him
mad.
where the burn lives in this. He's like, how would you make fun of somebody's hair color? I was like, you say it's box dye.
Yeah.
You tell them that they have mousy brown hair.
Manic panic pixie dream girl. Get the fuck out of here. So there's a few of them. There was a blonde.
I just want to say, for clarity, I have manic panic pixie dream girl hair and box dye.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying it to her as an insult.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Sometimes I look in the eye, I'm like, manic panic pixie dream girl. Get in here.
Look at you, Zoe Deschanel Bangs.
Yeah. What's up, Hayley Williams?
You mean your best friend?
Listen.
Your best friend?
I wish. I want to be best friends with Hayley Williams.
Make it happen, world.
Hey, world, let her know. Don't be creepy about it, though. She has enough problems. She's been famous since she was like 14.
Yeah.
You know, Hayley Williams is friends with Taylor Swift because their parents were like, you two need to be friends because you need to understand what someone else who's going through this.
Yeah, you need
somebody else. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear about Taylor Swift and Blake Lively? There's like a whole new part of this lawsuit.
Okay, stop. We're still on red-haired people. Stop. Do not.
Okay.
I don't have. No. Stop clicking. Stop snapping. All right? Don't do this, okay? We're talking about the plight of our people here, Mr. Third. The plight of red-haired people.
And I'm like, guess what these two rich blondes are doing?
Yeah, exactly. This, of course, a snow bunny like you would want to go turn this about blondes.
We gotta stop letting you watch Dr. Umar.
Get me in a room with Dr. Umar,
No.
Hayley Williams.
No, I wouldn't put Hayley through that.
All right. But anyway, these white Karens show up.
They try to ruin it.
And like they try. And it was very funny as how the redheads and black people were just like, get the fuck out of here. And the big part of it is because it wasn't about them.
Yeah.
Again, they saw.
They need to be the center of attention.
They saw it and they needed to be the center of attention. They got really mad about it. But also the other thing that happened was that what the black people pointed out was you've had your entire life to be nice to red-haired people. But the second, and again, it's like kids with a toy.
Yeah.
Right? Kids with a toy. Oh man, look, I got this thing. I don't like this. And then you see the other kid at school play with it. You're like, well, I want it back.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did to red-haired people.
Yeah.
Their entire lives. Like, fucking red-haired freak with your fire crotch and your fucking bullshit, soulless. You got no soul. The black girl walks up. Hey, you're pretty nice. Give me that back.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. And it was so crazy to happen. But now we're about a week into it. Now we're seeing the backlash.
Yeah, of course.
And there's the backlash to the backlash to the backlash. But a couple reds showed up and they wanted, they've said some dumb shit.
Of course.
And then now they're starting to see the backlash come in there a little bit. And it's like, again, it's also coming from like corners of people who like just don't want to have fun.
Yeah.
And like don't want to just see like
It's just a little case of the silly billies, guys.
There's also a weird thing on the internet too where like when people see somebody having a good time, they're like, I have to figure out how
I have to ruin it.
Yeah. Oh, I had this wonderful breakfast today, sitting in a garden. Must be nice to be able to afford food.
Yeah. Oh, you have a garden?
The other thing that somebody brought up,
Okay.
which is weird because I've usually only seen this brought up by white supremacists and not brought up by redheads for the most part.
Okay.
Is from TV and from movies.
Okay.
The idea of redhead erasure, which I've mentioned to you before about how
Yeah.
it's I find it interesting. I don't find it upsetting. I find it interesting. But there's a thing, especially in DC comics.
Oh, comic book movies.
And then sometimes from cartoons that then become live action.
Yeah.
Redheads are often recast as black people.
Yes.
And the thing is like, I don't have a problem with this because I grew up with a history of reading comic books.
Yeah.
Redheads are overrepresented in comic books and they're overrepresented in cartoons.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is white supremacy. Let me explain. So when you had a character in a comic book, especially in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or on TV running up to the 90s, you would want to have a character that you'd want to have stand out. So you paint all the other different characters. You paint them blonde, brunette, you paint them with black hair, all these different things. So unless you go give them like a face tattoo,
Yeah.
or you make them blue, or you make them a different thing, you want to give a signifier to the audience before the big moment happens, like in Harry Potter, where that they're the chosen one,
Yeah.
or that they're the main character. How do you do that? You make them slightly different. And the way to do that is in the past to give them red hair.
Yeah.
And so you've had all these characters over time that were drawn with red hair to make them stand out and be different among the background characters. And so red hair shows, so I think Ariel and the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So when they did the live action version and they cast a black actress,
Yeah.
there were some people, mainly white supremacists,
Yep.
who were screaming, how dare you? And they tried to defend by saying that there's no way she can have red hair, which is bullshit because there are black people with red hair.
Absolutely.
Because of the history of racism and slavery and other things that happen. And I've met many black people with red hair and freckles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Malcolm X had
Also-
red hair and freckles.
Also, this is going to sound so crazy. I mean, hold my hand on this one. Mermaids aren't real.
We
can make mermaids be whatever we want
Yeah.
because they're from our imagination.
Yes.
So if our imagination says that the mermaid is played by Hailey Bailey, then the mermaid is played by Hailey Bailey.
Yes.
Because it's This is the same thing we got into a conversation about when they did the Lord of the Rings remake, was it? Where they did...
Oh, where they had black dwarves?
They had black dwarves and everybody was yelling, and I was like, this is imagination.
It's a fantasy land.
This is a fantasy imagination.
Middle Earth
you
isn't real.
can't scream that they wouldn't be in Middle Earth. It's imagination.
But also, I want to point something out. I started watching that, the Lord of the Rings, the Amazon show.
Yeah.
Very funny because I think it's a red-haired dwarf married to a black woman, and I was like, yeah,
Exactly.
there it is.
Yeah.
That's the most accurate thing I've seen in here so far. But yeah, it was like there's in this thing where they go through and people will point to all this different stuff, and there's like charts. I've seen Elon Musk like a year ago share it, be like, and he went, interesting. I was like, you fucking
He always
bigot.
rates fucking interesting.
You fucking
This is dumb
bigot.
shit.
Yeah, why don't you go talk to one of your kids and stop using them as a fucking bullet shield? Anyway, there's a bunch of them where they'll point to Starfire. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. She's literally an alien from space.
Yep, not real.
And she's also not a ginger. She has orange hair, but she's from Tamaramia. Like, she is from space. She has golden orange skin.
Okay.
She's not a ginger. She has orange hair. They'll point to the Batwoman.
Okay.
Batwoman is wearing a wig. She is not a redhead. Batwoman in the comic book is wearing a wig. They'll point to Batgirl because in more recent descriptions, Batgirl is
Alicia
being played.
Silverstone.
No. In the newer versions, when they had the Batgirl movie that the Warner Brothers didn't release, right?
Okay.
And then in like the Lego Batman, she has like darker skin because slowly Commissioner Gordon is being played by black actors. So they've made Batgirl, who is his daughter, black. Okay.
Okay.
If you go back to Batgirl and Batwoman were both invented. They were invented
Yeah.
to calm the public perception of gay panic about Batman and Robin. They are beards, and guess what? Both of them wear fucking wigs. Even on the TV show. You go back to the Adam West TV show where Batgirl is first shown. She has short, dark hair, and then she puts on a red-haired wig so her dad doesn't recognize her because her dad cannot tell that that's his daughter's chin because he is too caught off guard by her red hair.
Yeah.
She is not even she's never been a ginger. In the comic books, they slowly changed it because guess what? Audiences are fucking dumb and couldn't understand that it was a wig. So they slowly changed it over time. And all of these things, there's only one time in the history of a red-haired person being recast as a black person that I actually have been upset about.
Which one?
Okay. It was from the TV show Supergirl, the CW series. Jimmy Olsen is played by a black man. Okay. And I want to tell you something. He's too handsome to be Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen is a dork, okay? Jimmy Olsen wears a fucking bow tie. He wears a checkered thing. His whole thing is, I'm Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. He's an intern. Okay? He's a fucking intern.
Okay.
Look up Jimmy Olsen on the CW right now. I want you to look at how fucking beautiful this man is. He is jacked, okay? He is rippling, okay? Yeah, now picture Jimmy Olsen. Picture fucking Turtle Boy Jimmy Olsen. You can't, okay? Jimmy Olsen is supposed to be a scrawny little twink, all right, running around. On the CW, I watched the fuck out of the CW Arrowverse superhero shows, all right?
You really did.
I really did. Before the baby was born, I was watching that Flash. I was watching the Arrow. I loved the Supergirl show.
Yep.
I loved it, okay? I did love it. It was
I would walk
good.
in and he'd be like 3 episodes. He was like, I'm in Supergirl right
Yo,
now.
fuck yeah, dude. Martian Manhunter was so good in that fucking show. The show was good. And it did the... Supergirl actually had the one thing that most of the other CW superhero shows didn't fall into, which is it got popular enough, and then they'd pluck a showrunner from it and throw it to another show, like a spinoff.
Yeah.
And then the show would get worse.
Okay.
And it didn't happen on Supergirl.
Nice.
It was just good the whole time. Anyway, so this is the only one because I'm like, they could have made a whole new character. That's been my whole thought. Because this dude, also, he becomes, later in the show, he's like the Guardian. He plays the character of the Guardian, which is like another superhero. But like Jimmy Olsen was never the Guardian. It just didn't make sense. They started taking stuff and jumbling it up.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. Like, But that's been always my one thing. But here's, let me go throw it back even on that.
What's that?
Jimmy Olsen, historically, on TV and in live action, Guess what?
What?
Has not been being played by redheads anyway. If you go to Lois and Clark, The Real Adventures of Superman, which had Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher, the show I grew up on, where who's the bald comedian? Howie Mandel. Howie Mandel played Mr. Mixolydic in it.
What?
Is a fifth dimensional imp who can only be sent back to his home dimension by saying his name backwards. He has to be tricked to say his name backwards, the only way to get rid of him. Superman often figures out how to do this. He is played by Howie Mandel. That is, if I want to go into the rules of, oh my God, this is Redhead Erasure, Mr. Mixolydic is 1.5 feet tall. He is an interdimensional imp who wears a tiny little hat, who looks a lot like the fighting Irish guy from Notre Dame. He's got like one of these stances all the time. That's not Howie Mandel.
No.
That's not fucking Howie Mandel. I'm sorry. Where were the racists then? Huh? You want to come out here and be like, we got to defend Ginger. It's Ginger Erasure. Fuck you. Howie Mandel's out here. It's fifth dimensional imp erasure. Get fucking Howie Mandel off my Dean Cain shitbag Terry Hatcher Superman show. Okay? When you go to the live action Snyderverse, the Snyderverse Superman, again, not a redhead. He's just some guy. He's some handsome guy. They're like, no, Jimmy Olsen is a wartime, he's a war correspondent photographer. No! He's a fucking intern. He's got to be like maybe 19, 20. He can't get a drink, whatever. The one version of Jimmy Olsen I do like is now on the anime Superman that they have on Adult Swim. Again, Jimmy Olsen is just black now. He's great. It's the perfect Jimmy Olsen. He's skinny. He's kind of a dork. He's young. He does social media shit. They bring in Flamebird. Everything makes sense. They figured out how to like do all these things. I was like, it's perfect. That's great. I just think this one guy's casting, he's too fucking sexy.
Too handsome.
Jimmy Olsen. There's a part where it's like it's like they do it on the Superman anime too. It's like there's like Supergirl and Jimmy Olsen like have like a little thing because it's a thing of convenience.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, she likes him on the anime though because he's a dork.
Yeah.
He's not a dork on the live action one.
Got it.
Keep Jimmy Olsen nerdy. That's my only request. And oftentimes, a lot of the red-haired characters they were always kind of more nerdy and on the side. And that's the other part where
the Ferguson effect.
The Ferguson effect. I don't like the way you said that. In conclusion, I think that this has been, I think that unbeknownst to any of us, the person who posted this original video, Deara, what's her name here? Deara the Root Worker. When she posted that, I don't think she understood how much psychological healing that she sent out into the world.
Yeah.
But maybe she did. Because while many of us have been saying that gingers are black people is a joke, or it's a meme, or it's a discussion point, or it's any of these different things, while we've all been saying that, she has been posting this entire time.
Yeah.
And she is one of those people who post like 7-8 videos a day.
Yep.
And I came across her explaining the rest of gingers being black people.
Okay.
And she came back in her 21-second video. And I want to point out something, knowing she's not doing this for the money.
Okay.
Which is crazy. 63.3 million views.
She's not in the Creator Fund?
I don't know if she might be in the Creator Fund, but her video isn't over a minute.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh no. See, she needs a Mrs. Promania. I won't let you post anything under a minute.
When I do, you get real mad.
I get so mad because it's always the thing that goes viral. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, just stare in silence if you need to.
For 1 minute and 1 second.
Sometimes we see other people that we know, like through the internet, and we'll hit that 1 minute, 1 second, and we're like, got it.
Let me tell you.
Fucking got it, dude.
It's so crazy. Because on the TikTok Creator Fund only pays out if the video is over 1 minute long.
And people naturally see it.
And people naturally see it in their FYP, so it's not sharing a video doesn't help.
Yeah.
Or people going to your profile doesn't help. It has to actually truly go viral for them to pay you out. And what's crazy is I play a game where I see a video and I'm like, oh my God, this has 1 million likes. The first thing I do, I immediately reach down to the bottom and I grab that fucking timestamp bar and I'm like, how long is this video? Yeah. And if it says 58 seconds, I just yell, you fool!
You idiot!
You moron!
God damn it!
Why would you fucking idiot? Why? The money! Think of the money, Lebowski! money.
Because again, we want other people to succeed.
I want them to do good.
I want you to get the money.
Yeah. And so like her original video.
The Ferengi in my brain is
I
just
know,
like, get
it's
the money.
Yeah, because her original video was 23 seconds long.
Oh.
5 million likes.
Oh my God.
And I made a response video about it, and it was only 15. I think it was 9 seconds.
I know.
And it's got like 3 million views, and I know it hurts you.
It does hurt me, but
But
also
the video was
one
perfect.
It was perfect.
It was cut perfectly.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what
This
she
is
had
her
to say.
explanation.
This is her explanation.
Got it.
Let me unmute it for you.
Why gingers are black. A lot of y'all Irish people were right beside black people on the plantation. Okay? FYI. But all of y'all are descendants of a Haitian deity named Brigitte Samedi. That's why all gingers are black.
Got it. A Haitian deity.
Haitian deity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just one of those ones.
Prayers up. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. She said Brigitte Samedi. And I was just like, what? What? So it's one of those ones where it's like, this is such an amazing spell that was cast. I think she has no idea. I think maybe she does or she doesn't have any idea of like psychologically how many people she has healed.
Well, in her name, she says root worker.
Yes.
So I'm assuming she is someone that deals in spirituality and belief systems. And she seems like she has a positive aura. Like she's not coming from a negative place. She's like, no, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
And this is why. And so like maybe she's a healer and she healed the redheaded community.
Yeah.
60 million people saw this video, right? Is that what you're saying? Like 60 million. She helped 60 million people understand that they've been hurting their friends with red hair. Mm-hmm. That's, I mean, I'm a healer, a community healer.
I am so blown away by it. I am so blown away. And it's one of those ones. And again, I compartmentalized my teen years.
Yeah.
A lot of, and especially my middle school years, but like I basically just compartmentalized all of that and just like put it to the side, put it in a little box.
Yeah.
And I've really been thinking about it, like of like why, what that meant for me and what that changed. And I was like, and where the change was. And really for me, it was going away to college and I met a guy with red hair who was just cool.
Yeah.
And nobody mentioned he had red hair. He had like a nice girlfriend. He had a nice life while in school. He's a couple years older than me. And I was just like, oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a weird freak. And it's like, it comes down to that, like that representation matters. Like I didn't have that. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I couldn't imagine that for myself until I saw somebody else have it. And so in that moment, I really like looking back now, I was like, oh shit. Like that is what like gave me.
This past week has helped heal your inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really has.
So you were in
It
Italy.
wasn't the focaccia bread.
It wasn't. I was gonna say it wasn't the clean air, the focaccia bread, the
American,
beef carpaccio,
the woke pope,
which
we talk about again on Pearlmania500.net.
we get
on
deep
the
into
warm-up.
the woke pope.
Yeah, not too deep into the woke pope, but we talk about my experience and also me going through customs and not my anxiety of then my what's the word, jealousy.
Yeah, ego.
Yeah, but we'll get into that.
Ego collapse.
Crushing it. Well, Mrs. P, I unsurprisingly had a lot to say about that topic.
Went a little long. I want to say we had another topic we were going to discuss.
Yeah, well, you had another topic you were going to discuss.
Yeah.
You were going to tell me all about a specific town in Canada. And
I did a lot of.
name.
I opened a couple tabs. I
You
did some
did?
research, but we'll have to wait till next week.
We'll wait till next week, and I know. The thing is I feel bad about it because we previewed it a little bit on this week's episode of the Warm Up, which is our Patreon exclusive podcast, where we talk about. We kind of get ready for the show.
Yeah.
Every week when we right before we record this show, we do a whole other podcast.
Yeah, we got to warm up.
Yeah,
Get used to talking to each other in studio.
Because usually we're sitting with the baby and watching Miss Rachel, and like that's about it. And we're just
Yeah.
like, banana. So we had to learn how to talk to each other again.
Yes.
And that's also where we give our Patreon shout outs.
And this week we talked about your trip to Italy, my trip staying home,
Yep.
sleeping in the middle of the bed. It was
Yep.
an incredible time had by all.
And we gave a shout out to a lot of our, even though they're all ad free on our Patreon.
Yeah.
We actually give a shout out to all of the different products that we used during this week.
Yeah.
Including some of the ones that you'll hear, like Brooklyn Bedding Factor and others.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all our Patreons as well. You get your shout out if you join our Patreon at pearlmania500.net. You will get your shout out if you listen to the end of the warm up. That's
Yeah.
where we move them.
Yeah.
Because it makes the most sense.
And it's super fun.
And it's super fun, and we get really into it this
Yeah,
week.
we
talk a lot about the Counting Crows, a lot more than expected.
Yeah.
But with that, you've made it to the end of the episode, which means we will have a comment that we want you to leave down below. So to signify to us you made it to the end of the episode, please write Red Velvet Cupcake in the comments section. Red Velvet Cupcake. Because that's what I am now.
Yeah.
I'm a sweet red velvet cupcake, or I'm a cinnamon cousin. I haven't decided which one I like more.
Grok, is this true?
Grok, is this true? Write that down there as well. Write it all. Get in those comments. Get in those Apple Podcasts.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say, like, when people give us the star reviews.
Oh, yeah.
we
Leave
need
a
those as
5-star
well.
review.
5-star review on Spotify or on Apple Pod. All those things. This is all the call to actions. You made it to the end.
Make a call to action, y'all.
Yeah, right? Red Velvet Cupcake in the comments. We'll see you next week with a whole new episode of...
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
TMT. It's dynamite. TMT. You're not gonna be tight.
Whoa. Not, you will if you huge EV.